Harihi Om. Sai Ram. Vanakkam, Namaskaram, Vandanam, Assalamu Alaikum, Shatriyakal. Nice to see you all again. Today we are looking at something called confidence. What is confidence? To realize this concept of unity in divinity, and in the process of latching on to divinity, the first step is to develop something called confidence. And before you can have confidence in people and things around you, you need to have confidence in yourself, self-confidence. So it comes when you realize, self-confidence comes when you realize that God is not outside of you, but within you. And Swami has said that. This is the basis of spirituality. Tattvam asi, aham brahmasmi, like that. Once you develop self-confidence, which is the foundation, then comes satisfaction, self-satisfaction, which is the wall. After that comes self-sacrifice, which is the roof, right? So foundation, wall, roof. And then finally, when the house is complete, the indweller is inside, the result is self-realization. So self-confidence leads to self-satisfaction. Self-satisfaction leads to self-sacrifice. And self-sacrifice leads to self-realization. So what starts out as self-confidence ends up as self-realization. So you can see it is the foundation stone of realization, right, of the self. Confidence of the self leads to satisfaction of the self. Satisfaction leads to sacrifice, and sacrifice leads to realization. I'll tell you a story of a CEO, a big business. He was a CEO of a big business, and then suddenly, things take a bad turn, and he suffers huge debts and is on the verge of insolvency. Okay, what happens is, his company is going to close in 1 or 2 weeks' time. So he doesn't know what to do. He goes to the park just to get some fresh air, sits on the bench there, thinking. He's worked so hard to build the business to where it is. He doesn't want to lose the business. He wants to save the business. Totally distressed, in a total state of destitution. Right? Doesn't know what to do. Sits there, completely lost in his own thoughts. And then comes another man who sits beside him, an elderly gentleman, right? And the old man said, "Something wrong? Why are you looking so sad and whatnot?" So the CEO told him, "This is what is happening," and all of that. The old man looked at him and said, "Don't worry, it's a small problem. I'll help you." So the old man takes his checkbook out of his pocket and writes out a check and gives it to the CEO. The CEO, before he could look at the check, the old man tells him, "Look, I'll give you this now, but in exactly 1 year, at the same time, meet me back in this park, this bench, and you can pay me back. Right? Just give me back what I've given you." Then the old man leaves. Right? Now the CEO takes a look at the check, and the check was for $500,000. And he was in a bigger state of shock when he saw it was signed by J.D. Rockefeller. All of us know he's one of the richest men around, right? Signed by J.D. Rockefeller. Oh my God, he was so happy. He said, "My financial woes are all over." So he went back to his office with a renewed spirit, and he looked at the check and he said, "I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to cash it until I have, real problems." So he put the check in the safe, and then he started to have a new, because his spirit is renewed. So he made some calls. He spoke to the bank. He said, "I've got this idea, that idea, and I need a bit more time." So he managed to get some extra time from all the creditors and from the bank. And then he, made some inroads. He made some new contacts, signed some new contracts. And, 6 months later, his business was flourishing again without any, problems. And he was riding high, And exactly a year to the day where he received the check from J.D. Rockefeller, he went back to the park early with the same check, and he wanted to tell the man that he didn't use the check, So he was waiting, and then, the old man turns up, and he was sitting there. And just as the CEO took out the check to give it to him, a lady came chasing after the old man. And she caught up with him, and she held him in his arm, and he said, "There you are, I've been looking for you." And then she apologized to the CEO, saying, "I'm sorry, sir, if this old man has troubled you. He stays in the nearby nursing home, and he suffers from Alzheimer's. And whenever he sees people, he likes to give them a check, and he says that he's J.D. Rockefeller. So I'm sorry for all the trouble. And she let the old man away. Now the CEO was shocked. All year he's been doing business thinking he had $500,000 in the check given to him by that old man who called himself J.D. Rockefeller, when actually the check was worthless. He had none. He had no money at all. And then he realized suddenly it was not the money, whether the money is real or imagined, it was not the money that had turned his life around. It was his newfound self-confidence that gave him the power to do anything that he went after. So the moral of the story is develop your self-confidence so that you are ably powered to achieve whatever it is that you want and set your mind on. All these great Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Edison, and all these people, they all started. What drove them was self-confidence. And I want to end with this little saying, one of my favorite sayings, right? A flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. Until I see you next Thursday, stay blessed.